At the end of Call Me If You Get Lost, the estate sale, we get Sorry Not Sorry. In the music video, I want to call specific attention to the fact that Tyler, the creator, is literally beating down all of his alternate egos and personas, leaving nothing left but Tyler. This album, Chromakopia, isn't an alter ego. Originally, I thought that the character we are seeing is Saint Chroma. Online, a couple people were saying that this is a theoretical director of colors. But when we listen through the album, all we're left is with Tyler himself. This album is the first time we really get to see Tyler, the creator, hiding behind a mask so that he can say what's really on his mind. Now, in this video, I'm going to spend some time breaking down each song on the album Chromakopia, talking about some of the themes, talking a little bit about the music itself, as well as the overall messaging. Let's get started. The album opens with Saint Chroma, which was originally the teaser for the album. It sounds like marching off to war once again. It's a general whispering his plans to himself primarily, while going over just how great of a person he thinks he is himself. Never had a doubt inside me. If I ever said I did, I'm lying, From there, we lead into Rah Tah Tah, which is one of the more braggadocious tracks on this album, very similar to a lot of the songs on Call Me If You Get Lost. There is a lot of ad-libs that just crack me up, taking away from the overall seriousness of it to show that Tyler is still joking. He is still a rather funny character. For example, I'm a fish, after he talks about being a Pisces, which is a common thing for rappers to talk about. Think about Lil Wayne and his Libra scale. Think about Kendrick Lamar being a Gemini. Another one that cracks me up is just the hard cut of all the instrumentals.
Never tell them niggas or those women till you breathe out.
Ultimately highlighting the theme of not trusting people in a relationship. Never let them know where you live. Never let them be where you are, which leads perfectly into Noid. The transition at the very end, paranoid into that harmonious paranoid is a great transition, really reminiscent of I think of Flower Boy boredom into I Ain't Got Time, like that, the way that goes together. I love it, absolutely wonderful. I'll talk a little bit about the music of Noid because I'm sure we've all had some time to digest the song itself. Musically, the guitar riff primarily is it starts on the 2, so 1. The chords I'm using here are a B minor into C sharp minor. Every once in a while, tapping on that E. Really cool transition. If you want to play that song at home, that's the chorus. There you go. There are obviously more transitions throughout the song. He often likes to include a bridge, but just musically, I think that's a pretty easy one to get into, especially if you play guitar. Heavy fuzz and distortion. But the next track, Darling I, and it's specifically Darling I Keep Falling in Love. It's a smooth R&B track that's discussing Tyler's difficulty with a monogamous relationship. It's honestly a really great banger of an album for people, and I'm sure it could come up a lot, for people who have a hard time committing to a relationship, for people who have a difficulty actually being in love with just one person, because eventually you find somebody else and then you're in love with somebody brand new again. It's hard to be committed to one person when you have a hard time finding perfection in yourself. Stuff like that is kind of the theme of the tune. It's a similar relationship approach to a lot of the things Tyler's been talking about for a while. Though he does become infatuated, though he does fall in love, he has a difficulty actually committing to these people. This leads us into the next song, Hey Jane. In this track, he talks about accidentally getting somebody pregnant or having a pregnancy scare, and it takes on the form of 2 perspectives. One is Tyler himself coming to terms that maybe he wants to be a father, maybe this isn't an accident, maybe this is something great, and he just wants to see what happens. But ultimately, he acknowledges that it's the woman's choice if they want to go through. No pressure. It is the woman's idea. It is the woman's ultimate decision. And then we go on to Jane's perspective. And Jane has a very similar conflict of wanting to keep this baby or not. There is a mention that she feels like she's getting older. She even says she's 35 and this might be the last time she can even have kids. And even though she likes Tyler and thinks he's okay, though a little weird, she wants to raise this child on her own, so she's going to London probably to raise this without him because she has her own money. This would ultimately leave Tyler in a very similar relationship that his father was in, making Tyler similar to his father in multiple ways, which we'll come back to later on as the album goes on. The next track is called I Killed You, and with the nature of the previous track and this current track, it leads me to believe that this child ended up being terminated, that they didn't keep it. They had an abortion. This, once again, was Jane's choice, and Tyler supports it in the way it is. The song is very heavily focused on the rhythm of the track. Cool track. Judge Judy is another interesting story-oriented song focused on Tyler having a relationship with this woman. Judy is what we call her. Now, there's a callback to Dogtooth. She could ride my face, I don't want nothing in return. That's a cool callback, that's a cool line. Ultimately, the woman in this song appears to have passed away. She mentions that it spread to her brain. I can only assume it's cancer, and she didn't tell Tyler about it until after she died. And then she wrote him a letter explaining everything. Kind of a emotional track. Pretty cool too. Next is Sticky, and Sticky is one of the bangers off of this album. It's just kind of raunchy and has an all-star lineup of like rappers who do nothing but bring hype. There's Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne. Honestly, I wish they had longer verses. This was a pretty cool track either way though. Now, Take Your Mask Off is another deeply soulful song that is referring to multiple people. And since I'm not Tyler, I'm not going to say exactly who these people are, but it definitely fits a theme. The first verse appears to be about a rapper who is acting harder than they actually are. The second verse is about a preacher man or somebody who's overtly religious, but has homosexual tendencies that they're hiding within themselves. The third verse is about seemingly a housewife who gave up all of their dreams to be living in a nice house, to be having the kids, but every time they sit and reflect, they get too distracted to really imagine what they want to be. The line, you spend so much time, basically he's saying they're too busy to consider even killing themselves, and that's such a heavy line to me. The last verse sounds like it's talking about Tyler himself, much in the similar fashion to You by Kendrick Lamar. It's Tyler acknowledging some of his faults, how he's not ready to have a kid. Is this album stuff really working out? Is his stage presence up to par with the other head rappers? Why is he not in the greatest of all time discussion? It also calls to attention the character Tyler is embodying in this album, wearing a mask. I hope you take the mask off and show everybody who you really like. The following song, Tomorrow, is a song about aging. My mother's hands don't look the same. One of the heaviest things and most adult things you can do is realizing that the people you're growing up with are getting older. It's a very singer-songwriting style of a song, especially with the guitar playing throughout the intro. It sounds like something you might hear at a coffee shop, somebody playing. Then Tyler talks about how he focuses on his music more than anything else, and his cars. I must say, the song is just beautifully produced. Now, the secret track that's only on the vinyl comes at this point, Mother. This track talks about Tyler realizing how some of his friends aren't great influences and his mom pretty much calling him out on that. Ultimately, though, the song shows just how much Tyler really loves and respects his mother, and that he turned out just fine thanks to her. The next track is my personal favorite off the album, Thought I Was Dead. This, it's got so much fire into it. I love the horns. It's reminiscent of Tamale off of Wolf. Just the overall energy and everything he has through the song. He mentions how he wishes he had a magic wand to go poof. That's a callback to Igor. I'm more of a fan of Schoolboy Q personally than Playboi Carti, but they both have good verses on the track depending on which one you want to see. And in the video, I do want to call out that Tyler isn't wearing a mask. So this is Tyler really popping off the way he wants to. This is him showing himself, that energy that he's been carrying around with him this entire career. Hey, bring up all that old stuff. I'll moonwalk over it. I own what you are. Don't let them dim your light. Be who you are. The next track, Like Him, I feel is a reflection of Answer in many ways. So, if you listen to Answer off of Wolf, it's him calling out his dad. But like him is realizing that he's more like his dad in so many ways than he even realized initially. But once again, we go back to Hey Jane. The fact that this woman was going to raise this kid who was probably Tyler's kid without Tyler means he's almost exactly like his dad. And that's a hard realization for a lot of people. Tyler has expressed distaste and disappointment towards his father for the almost entire time of his career. However, one of the biggest signs of maturing and becoming an adult is that realization that we are more like our parents than we want to be. He also is very similar to his father in a way that they keep having a hard time falling in love with different people. You know, darling, I keep falling in love. And I think it has an absolutely beautiful use of his mother's words in this song as well. Just the snippets throughout the album bring a tear to my eye specifically. Next, Balloon. This is one of my favorite features on the album. I love Doechii. I think she's great. It's got a goofy Tyler beat that only Tyler, the creator, can make. I love the inflections that Doechii does when she's rapping, especially. I think that's something that puts her at the top of the rap game. Unfortunately, this song isn't on the vinyl. Just as a quick call out, I believe they replaced Balloon with Mother. However, if you take it out of this position, that means that the ending tracks go from Like Him to I Hope You Find Your Way Home, which is a beautiful transition to an ending. Even though I absolutely love Balloon, I think it's a great track, I do have to admit, Like Him into I Hope You Find Your Way Home is a better transition. Now, our last track, I Hope You Find Your Way Home. This is an ending song in line with Are We Still Friends? He summarizes the album. He mentions that he almost had a kid but didn't in the end, and how he doesn't really feel like he's ready, but he kind of wants it. And in his own words, he wants to have a child before he ends up washed up like dirty dishes. He mentions dirty dishes in a couple songs, but I just like that he keeps using this reference. You know, like if we, sweet, I thought you wanted to dance. We were in the sink like dirty dishes. You know, we were in sync like dirty dishes. I'm getting a little too off topic. In the end, the most important thing you can do is keep shining and keep being yourself. You got a fire inside of you and don't ever let anybody dim it. Now, this is going to be my longest album review I have done. I've listened to this album multiple times. On my first listen, I wasn't as hooked as I was after listening again and again and again. And honestly, this has become my favorite Tyler, the Creator album. I like it more than Igor. I give it a 10. That's all. Thank you for watching. My name is Richard Durazo. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe, like, all of those words. Did I miss anything? Is there something I didn't cover or something you realized that maybe was different than how I thought of it? Leave a comment. Many blessings, folks.